The use of force is not a one-sided issue. Under the Fifth Amendment, we find no person shall be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. That requires a balancing act with the use of force. Someone cannot deprive you of your life, liberty, or property without due process of law, but neither can you deprive someone else of that right. And while it would be helpful if there was a brightly defined set of circumstances for different levels of force, life doesn't work that way. We are human beings, not animals, and we need to use our reason when it comes to the use of force. The use of force, especially deadly force, comes with more than just responsibility. It comes with consequences. Notice how often the term reasonable is used in the law. To the degree it is reasonably believed, the person reasonably believed. Both those phrases are repeated multiple times, which means the use of force must be backed by reason. Not the outburst so often seen on videos, not the emotional response to an attack, not even defense of pride, but there must be reason. More than a reason to use force, but a justification for the amount of force used. To have a reasonable use of force, we need to reason through how we would use it. In the heat of the moment, you are more likely to make an emotional decision rather than a reasoned one. Watch for situations and ask yourself, how much force would you use in that situation? When you see riots on the news, ask yourself, how would you respond if you were the owner of the property that was being destroyed? A bypasser observing, or even a member of the group? How far would you go? How would you defend your home, a loved one, or a friend? Under what circumstances would you use force or simply call the police and be a good witness? Consider just how much force you would use. Since the lawful use of force, deadly or otherwise, requires some reasonable conclusions, we should consider it in the cold light of day, the conditions under which we could reasonably use different levels of force. Now, for any use of force, there will be consequences, not just legal questions of whether or not the use was justified, but the need to live with those decisions. Is saving your car, your wallet, or even your cattle worth the consequences of the use of force? This is especially true with deadly force. I cannot tell you what the right answer is for you because, well, that'll be different for everyone. Personally, for me, there are few possessions that are worth taking a human life. However, any punishment government might hand out are well worth it to protect my family. It may take some time, but I believe I could live with myself if I took a life to protect the life and well-being of my family. I do not come to that question flippantly. I've spent a fair amount of time considering different situations and my response, because proper preparation prevents poor performance. When my family is on the line, no amount of preparation is excessive.